Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody in between, welcome to another episode of the Chaps Chat Cats, a part of the Hoops Crew Media Network. My name is Jake, and I'm joined in the virtual studio ahead of what is bound to be a long and arduous Easter weekend by the one and only Mr. Johnny Larkin. How are you, John?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm fantastic. Can't wait. I know we've got to wait till right at the end of the Easter weekend to get our, most important footy fix. But it is awesome that there's going to be a bunch of games on over the next four days.
I was
Tonight,
just about
Thursday,
to
Friday,
say,
Saturday, Sunday. Oh,
it's such a shame the round doesn't start till Monday.
it's true. It's true. It's a long gap for footy between Friday night last week and Monday this week. It's a long time to wait for footy to restart.
It's a long time. Nearly too long.
Excellent. On the show tonight, Cats v Hawks round 3 preview action. Going to hit a bunch of angles on that. We're going to wade our way through team selection, which will, require a little bit of clairvoyance and, imagination on our part, given the game doesn't start till Monday. Obviously, the teams don't have to deliver a set team on a Thursday night like normal. So we'll do a bit of prediction there. We'll talk about what we want to see in the game, and then we'll move on behind the Patreon subscription curtain to give our Patreon match predictions for our Patreon subscribers. If you want to be a part of the Hoops Crew Patreon, and when you're a part of the Hoops Crew Patreon, you get VFL men's and women's coverage of the Cats. That's a Patreon subscribers exclusive. You get a Wednesday news show. That was a good 40-minute show that myself and Ben did this week on the Patreon. That was digging into Tom Hawkins' 350th. We talked injury news. We talked about a bunch of different stuff. Get early access to things like behind the play interview episodes, extended versions of these podcasts. So all of that, $6 Australian per month. And you can start with a little bit of a free taster by signing up for a 7-day free trial. So if you want to do that, the Hoops Crew Patreon, you can sort yourself that out. All right, let's get into it, Johnny, on the show. Let's get into the preview. And shout out to Gemma, who is working, or Gem. Sorry, your name's Jemima, but I'm calling you Gem for short because I can't be bothered with the full thing. Doing the controls for us tonight as Colin, producer Colin, continues to wade through his own personal and legal battles, which we won't get into. And I know we've got to get you out here quick, Gem, because Gem, John, in addition to producing our show, also running the sound desk for the Rainbow cover band act that starts, I think, 10 o'clock somewhere deep in the concrete jungle of Melbourne. So, yeah, we've got to get Gem out for that.
Absolutely.
Let's get into it, John. Cats v Hawks.
V the Scum.
The classic rivalry game. That's right. Cats v the Scummers. Last time out, we beat the Hawks 19-13, 127-6, 9-45. That was back round 4 of last season. The Cats obviously had got off to an 0-3 start. They looked scratchy to halftime in this game. In fact, they trailed the Hawks 4-3, 27-5-6, 36. Well, they didn't trail for long in the second half. They held the Hawks to just 1-3 in the second half as they piled on 15-10, 90 in the second half. Jessica Cameron kicked 7 goals. They generated 32 scoring shots to 15. Went at just 12.2 disposals per scoring shot. The Hawks at 20.8. Yeah, as I said, Cameron with 7 goals, 1 and 22 disposal, 9 marks. Mitch Duncan, 31 touches, 14 marks. Who else do we have a big game? Patrick Dangerfield, 27 touches, 25 touches for Brian Myers. Bunch of Cats played really well. But Johnny, what were your sort of thoughts looking back on that game? It certainly felt like it was it did change the season for us. We went on a big run after that.
We did. It was a big game last year. Obviously, taking on a pretty inexperienced Hawthorn side at that time, and again similar position Hawks. They're still very inexperienced. Rebuild on the go as they are having, but I don't. I do remember it was a massive, massive win and just dominated them throughout the entire game. Made it look like men
Mm,
playing against children. And a part of me sort of expects a similar thing this year, but then I also think, well, it's a big game. Hawks, the Scum normally step it up when they come
mm,
up against the Cats, and I expect it this year. I think this year will be a lot tighter, especially after last week's
mm,
game for Hawthorn. It's a pretty embarrassing defeat that they had against Melbourne, and one you'd expect them to come out the week after much stronger and focus on those faults of their own. So I'm not
mm.
expecting a walk in the park for the Cats. I don't expect us just to come out and absolutely annihilate them, although I would love it if that did happen. And to be fair, I could see that happening as well. The Cats have been playing pretty well, but they haven't been as polished or as clean as they could be. So it'll be an
Mm.
interesting, fun game. I think, yeah, I think it's either going to be really close, like a tight tussle where the Cats just, have that extra legs to get over the Hawthorn Hawks, or it's going to be a blowout for the Cats. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I, I'm a little bit. I mean, I'm not anxious. Like my sort of read on this game is Geelong should win. This is a game that we
Yes.
should, if we're expecting to be at the end of the season where we feel like we should be, then we win this game.
Although
But the rivalry,
we did lose in 2022, and then we went on to win the
yeah,
premiership. So maybe.
it's been, relatively up and down. It hasn't been all one-way traffic, for the Cats the last little while against the Hawks. In 2022, yeah, we did not play well. It was a rainy game at the G, and the Hawks got the better of us, by a couple of goals. But this is a game we should win if we're where we think we should be. Geelong fans, I
Yeah.
think, are feeling pretty confident. We are on the podcast. We feel pretty buoyant about where the team's at. So far, it seems to be confirming this season what we thought last year, that, God, we just had a absolute shocker run with injuries. Yeah, we were still dealing with, losing Selwood to retirement. There was a lot of, you know, it was a bit of a journey of self-discovery
Mm.
last year in the post-Selwood era for the Cats, and we thought that, if we could put everything together in 2024, that this Cats team would be really, really competitive, at the pointy end. So far, so good, and it would be nice to see that roll on this week against the Hawks, and I think it will. The only thing that I would say is missing Dangerfield takes out a massively experienced piece of that midfield, and I
Definitely.
just I guess it's gonna fall on players like Parfitt if he plays, if it falls on Tom Atkins if he plays, Blixarves, those guys with a few games under their belt to just settle some of the younger guys, given that I think the team will be expecting we go in and we get the job done. I know everyone talks about you approach every game the same, you approach every team the same. Let's face it, everyone's feeling confident. The Cats are feeling confident. We're feeling
Yeah.
confident. You don't want to be going in overconfident and then find yourself in a rock fight with the Hawks. So I think if we manage, our confidence sort of thing, if the team goes in and just takes this on like any other game and prepares well and doesn't take the opposition for granted, then I think we'll get the job done pretty handily. Let's talk about some team selection stuff, Johnny. And obviously we're
Yeah.
recording this at, just before 7 o'clock on Thursday night. So the game's not for another 4 whatever days.
3
So we're
days,
making
20
this up
hours,
a little
24 minutes.
a, a little bit as we go. So I'm going to refer to the injury list for this. We know
Yep.
Dangerfield's out. They've said 2 weeks. We talked on the Wednesday news show about the fact that we thought it would more likely be 3 because they'll give him an extra week to rest against North Melbourne, um, if they can get away with it. So anyway, Danger's not available for this game. They're talking that Jack Bowes and Tom Hawkins both expected to play. In the article put out by the club, the health update, um, what did they say? Tom was really close to playing, just had a real low-grade adductor injury we didn't want to risk. Expect him to train fully tomorrow, be available to play. Jack has been recovering from that calf contusion, which was a cork. Again, he's the same as Tom. If he trains fully tomorrow, we expect them to be available. Tanner Bruin remains a test as he recovers from that mid-foot sprain. So, sounds like more than likely Atkins and Bowes both available. Tanner Bruin, a possibility, but he's got to test it. Everyone
Yep.
else who's been on the injured list is out. Gary Rowan's not coming back. Cameron Guthrie, George Stevens, Joe Furphy, Mitch Edwards, Dangerfield, they're all out. So,
Yep.
with this in mind, Johnny, we'd expect Mitch Duncan to be back in, right?
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. He's a auto
So then
select.
we would be, yep. So then that takes out, say, Mitch Nevitt, theoretically,
Yeah.
takes out Mitch
Yep.
Nevitt because you had Mitch Nevitt, Parfitt come in for the loss of Atkins and Duncan. So we're putting Duncan back in, and you would theoretically put Atkins back in.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you would almost certainly put Atkins back in.
You'd most
But
likely
now
do
you
that.
have the question mark, John, of the fact that Dangerfield's out.
Yep.
So
And if
that leaves a spot. And who do you think? Do you think Parfitt will play? Do you think Bowes will replace Parfitt? Or like what do you sort of
sorry, just showing the
think?
window as the lawnmower is turned on.
No
I would
worries.
say, well, if Danger's out and we're bringing Atkins and Duncan, which is most likely to happen, yeah, that only leaves really one spot,
Mhm.
doesn't it? I'd say
Yeah, I think
on,
so. Doing the math in my head.
yeah, it's a tough one because you definitely want to get Bose in and get him some games early in the year, test him out. But
Mm,
after Parfitt's game last week, it hasn't really raised any concerns for him to lose his spot to Bose. So
mm,
it's a tough one. I would probably lean to leave Parfitt in and see how he goes this week and see how if he can continue on his good form from last week and then see what happens. Because I don't think it's not a
mm,
super strong Hawks midfield. It's not like Hawks team aren't super strong at the moment. They're still, as I said, they're rebuilding. They've got a lot of young guys. So I feel like my feeling is leave Parfitt in at this stage. And
mm.
unless Atkins or Duncan can't play for whatever reason, then yeah, definitely they'll bring Bose in. But at this stage, I'd leave Parfitt in, bring Atkins and Duncan back in. Because I don't think Parfitt's
Yeah.
done anything wrong to warrant him being dropped just yet.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, uh, yeah, I think that's how I would do it. You have so what did you say? Duncan back in, Atkins back
Atkins,
in, which
leave.
theoretically would mean save Dangerfield's healthy. You have Atkins, Duncan back in, Nevitt and Parfitt back out of the side. But we know that's
Yep.
not how it's going to happen because Dangerfield's out. So you'd leave
Well,
Parfitt in. My,
and then
my only question, Johnny,
Bose is maybe the medical sub.
what are you doing with Tanner Bruin though? If Tanner Bruin tests healthy,
Yeah.
does he get back in over Parfitt or not? What so say if that's the
Probably,
selection for you right now, Parfitt v Tanner Bruin, who are you going with?
I reckon they most likely
Tough
play it
question.
cautious. It is a tough question,
Mhm.
but they might play it cautious like they do most likely will do with Dangerfield and go, let's just give him an extra week rest, make sure it's 100%,
Yep.
especially early on in the year. And with injury history from last year, we don't want players coming back and then getting injured straight away, even if it is a minor injury. I still think the way
Mm.
Parfitt played, just give Bruin another week off.
Yeah.
Or
I
maybe
I
play
I
him as
like
the
that,
sub.
and yeah. Well, I don't mind though the idea of giving Bruin an extra week off
Yeah.
if assuming that everyone that they've talked about being possibly back to play is healthy to play. If Bose, Bruin, Atkins are all healthy and
Yeah.
Dangerfield's the only out, then I don't mind the idea of saying, like, if Bruin, as you said, they're being cautious, especially because we've got the Bulldogs coming up the next week. Like, why not? Why not give
Yeah.
Tanner Bruin an extra week? We'll roll with Parfitt back to back. And yeah, no, I don't mind that at all. Danger's a massive out, and I would say right now
It is.
it doesn't feel like we've really got. I'm not saying there's always like a like for like replacement for a player like Dangerfield, but he's such an explosive player out of our midfield that it's going to be interesting to see. I wonder whether Holmes gets more of a run,
Yeah.
occasionally through the middle in
I
this
feel
match.
like
It's not like he hasn't done that before.
I feel like Parfitt could be a very similar role player like Dangerfield. So it feels like he's the one that's got
Mm,
the body most suited to a Dangerfield like game, where he's able to get it and
mm,
burst through the pack and just bomb it inside 50 quickly to really put the opposition defense under pressure. So,
mm.
but yeah, it's not many apart from him. There's not really many others with a similar like body frame that could do the same as Dangerfield. Not saying that Parker
Yeah, and
can, because it's a pretty
mm.
pretty rare trait to be able to get the ball and just barge through people and then deliver a big long kick inside 50 while you're at full speed. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, and it's just like the thing with Parfitt is I think he can definitely do that sort of, smash in the close contested stuff and get it out to someone on the outside. Yeah, as he's obviously not got the same height, weight as a Dangerfield, but his ability to get in and do those courageous things where he can put his head over the ball and win it out
Mm.
to someone else. We've got plenty of that. It's just like, how do we get that? I suppose that's where you're making use of those guys on the outside, on the wings, and all that sort of stuff as well,
Mm.
like your Dempsey, like
Like in Max
if you can
Holmes.
get Brad Close,
Yeah.
Max Holmes, those guys,
Blitz.
you're wanting your Atkinses to get the ball out into the hands of those
Mm.
playmakers. So it'll be interesting to see how the Cats go without Dangerfield. It's an interesting little test. We had a couple of games without Danger last year, and one of them was a really spirited victory over Melbourne down at
Mm.
Kidinia Park. So I think we're in a better position this year to cover with the health of some other players.
Definitely.
But I'm with you. If we want to just wrap up the team selection sort of there and say we'd be happy with them being conservative with Bruin's injury management, with the Dogs on the horizon, to give him a week, or even if you wanted to put him as, the emergency and run with Parfitt in the side with Atkins and Duncan um, maintaining their spots.
Yeah,
Yes, I like it.
definitely.
All right, let's move on from that. Let's talk, Johnny, about one thing that we want to see here in this match. Do you have one thing off the top of your head, or do you want me to lead off
You
here?
go. You lead off. I'll have a
All
think
right,
a bit longer. I might
all
see
right.
what you do
Well,
and
no worries. Well, mine for me is this is a rivalry,
mhm.
um, and it's the chance to go 3 and zip. I want to see a really
Yep.
ruthless edge from Geelong's
Nice.
side, absent Dangerfield, absent Cam Guthrie. I want to see the young brigade, the Ollie Dempseys, um, the Ollie Henrys, the Jai Clarks, etc., get a taste for what it means to go and give Hawthorn a proper beatdown on the
Yep.
MCG. And whether
I
that's we win it in a close game or we win it big, I just want these players. I want to. I want a hard edge to Geelong. I don't want them to feel like because Danger's not there, well, we can't get the job done, or whatever.
Yep.
We're going to just be comfortable with a 2 and zip start. I know they won't be in their heads, but a hard edge. I want to see a hard edge to Geelong. I want to see them playing aggressive, ruthless football. When they've got the chance to put the foot on the throat, put it right down and go and put your mark on this rivalry, put your mark on this season, get to 3 and zip ahead of gather round, and then go see what you can do against the Dogs, a team that has, for me, the Dogs are so hard to get a read on at the moment. Obviously, we've got a really
Mm.
good mate, Jacko, who's a passionate Bulldogs fan. I feel like I get my best info from him, and it's sort of so far playing out. They're super talented, and sometimes they play below the sum of their parts. But when they play to the sum of their parts, they are a really, really hard team to stop, and their midfield is full of talent. So I want to see this Cats team really put the foot down on the throat and get a really ruthless win on Easter Monday at the MCG. I want to see some patches of play. We've talked about this before. You know when the Cats are on and they're in that frame of mind where they're both ruthless and see, people think, sorry to go on a tangent here, Johnny,
Ah,
but
you're right.
the
Go
Hawks
for it.
when they were up and about and being sort of that arrogant Hawks football was all about, physically bullying and chests out and running through people's, team huddles and all that sort of crap. When the Cats are arrogant and up and about, it's all that fancy football that they start playing. When they start, you know, getting a little arrogant and toying with the opposition, I kind of want to see that. I know some Cats
Yep.
fans hate it. They go, "Oh, what are we mucking around?" Let's see all of that. Let's see all of
Yep.
that and a ruthless win. And that to me means that, yeah, things are alive and well down at the Cattery in 2024. What about you? What's one
Oh,
thing you want to
definitely.
see?
I'm going to go to one s- certain player, and that's Tom
Hmm.
Hawkins. And I just want him
Yes.
to see him dominate that forward line. It's his big 350th. I want to see the Cats going to him as often as possible, and I want to see him kick like 6+ goals. Just utterly dominate that Hawks defense, throw them around like they're rag dolls, and just destroy the Hawks, their spirit, everything. Take them to shreds. Do it again like he did in 2013 when he nailed that shot from outside 50. Yeah, I just want to see
Mm.
Hawkins have a big game and just get the ball fed to him constantly as much as they often can. And yeah, I think that's something the Cats will definitely try and do. Is just feed Hawkins, and I want to see him take as many shots as he can, even if he has to be a bit selfish. Then I'll be happy. Just nail a bag of goals.
I love it. It's amazing thinking back about his career, and we are talking
Mm.
on the Wednesday news wrap about his debut in 2007, and I've in my memory it just shows how your memory sort of plays tricks on you. I've always had his debut against the Demons. I think it was in round 3 maybe, of 2007, but it wasn't. He played the week before against Carlton and kicked 3 goals too. I've just forgotten that game in my head. He kicked 4 goals in week 3 against the Demons. I think it was 4 goals against the D's. I think he went 3
Mm.
goals, then 4 goals, a few quiet games, then kicked another 4, and then didn't win his spot back in the side. He played a little bit later in the season, but anyway, wasn't involved in the grand final. But we're just also saying, like, does he have a claim to be one of Geelong's best performing grand final players of the dynasty, given what he did in
Yep.
2009 against the Saints, 2011, that third quarter where he tore it open against the Pies, and then 2022 got us off to the perfect start with those goals out of the ruck. Um, you can certainly say that his record in big games is pretty exceptional. And no, I'd love to see it, Johnny. I hope they do target him. I think they will. I hope they. It'd be lovely if we get the opportunity to have the game in hand by
Yep.
3/4 time, and then the last quarter is just like, let's feed the hawk. Um, I think he will kick a big bag, unless, of course, he does what he has done his whole career, and he just sets other people up.
Oh yes. I wouldn't be surprised if he helps
Yeah.
set other people up. He's just that type of player. He's very selfless, super intelligent. Like his footy smarts are just next level.
Mm.
What he's able to do on that footy field and how he's able to bring teammates into the game, set them up, and just you just look at the goal that he helped set up for Sean Manor last week. Like it was a quick look, and he just bombed it in there. It's like just such a great kick inside 50, which led to Manor's goal. And there's a lot of big moments Hawkins has had a hand in, and yeah, do agree. He's definitely one of the best cats going around. And to reach 350 games alongside Selwood, his best mate,
Mm.
pretty special moment. And it'll be even specialer when he ties with Selwood later on this year.
Mm. Absolutely. Can't wait. All right, can't wait for Monday. Now, if there's big selection stuff, we might do an emergency pod. To break down any selection twists. But if things sort of go roughly as planned, we may not. We'll see what time we find over the Easter weekend. But you have been listening to the Chaps Chat Cats. You've been watching the Chaps Chat Cats. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify, hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button. As I said earlier, if you want to subscribe to the Patreon to get the extended content, the extra stuff, the bonus coverage, Patreon exclusive things like the VFL stuff, make sure you go on over and do that. And make sure you're tuning in across the weekend. There will be a post-game live show with Ben and Paul on Monday night after the game. So they will, I think, kick off. I can't remember if it's 10 o'clock on Monday night. They'll actually be doing a live show over on YouTube. Check out all the usual shows here on the Hoops Crew Media Network on the YouTube channel. You'll hear from us probably Tuesday. I think we'll get our recap episode out on Tuesday. So it's been a pleasure talking Cats for you today. Until next time, go Cats!
Go Cats!